What's up, everyone? So we are on the road to WrestleMania right now. We're just a few weeks away from the show, about 2 months or so, and I'm going to be doing a series of podcasts all about WWE and the road to WrestleMania, discussing, weekly pretty much what's going on and the television and where the direction they're heading in is going. And it's going to be a collaboration between me and Fight Game Pod, or the Fight Game Blog podcast, which is hosted by Double G, the founder of FightGameBlog.com. I'm a co-founder too, all right, but that was a long time ago. But anyways, that being said, this is going to be the introductory episode. We're going to be off next week. We're going to be coming back in 2 weeks, and I thought it'd be fun to kind of share this with the World of Geekdom audience, since y'all like wrestling and I do too. So we're going to discuss the road to WrestleMania right now, and this is the first episode, the kind of the foundation episode, and we'll be putting these up on the channel as well. And I'll leave links if you want to get the podcast feed down below as well. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and begin the introductory episode of the Road to WrestleMania podcast. I hope y'all enjoy it. I had a lot of fun.
What up, everybody? This is Double G for the Fight Game Podcast. And just like Mason Betha, welcome back to Big D.
I'll take it, bro. I'm not used to any of these damn intros, but I'll take it.
So what's up, man? We haven't done one of these in a while.
Yeah, 7 months we haven't done one of these. It's been a long time, bro. That's about as long as I don't know, bro. That's about as my joke. I lost it. I lost my joke. It's been a while.
You were about to do like a dirty joke, and then you were like wondering, like, should I say it? And then you kind of were like, and then you hesitated. You know what they say?
My dirty humor's still there. It's just that now that I have this channel, I've kind of learned to censor myself, because my channel is pretty much a family-friendly channel. So you're right. Like, sometimes I'm still in that mode of being on my channel when I can't really be dirty all the time. So yeah.
You know what they say about he who hesitates?
He masturbates. That's right. That is correct. I learned that the hard way when I was young.
Okay, so what Big D and I are doing. This is like the fourth year or something like that. We've done these Road to WrestleMania weekly podcasts. Now, this is a collaboration between the Fight Game Podcast as well as your World of Geekdom channel. So quickly explain the World of Geekdom channel to the folks who are listening on Fight Game Blog and the Fight Game Podcast, and may want to also join the World of Geekdom channel.
Well, yeah, I have 2 YouTube channels. This is for those of you who are not subscribed. Obviously, for those of you who are new, if you're subscribed, you know this already. So I have Geekdom 101, which is a Dragon Ball and anime channel. Then I have World of Geekdom, which is basically a channel where I basically, it's more like a free reign thoughts kind of channel. I do movie reviews. I talk about wrestling. We talk wrestling scoops on there. I talk about life and life experiences, and kind of do lots of commentaries. Like I'll do and when I say commentaries, I don't mean like movie commentaries, like riff track commentary. I mean, like, I'll give opinions on things. Like, for example, I did a video recently about, is Eric Killmonger the best villain in MCU history? And I think he is.
I think it's a yes.
Yeah, that's your boy Michael B. Jordan, but he was great not just because of his acting skills, but because of the incredible writing that Ryan Coogler had done. I talk about how great of a character he is. So stuff like that, get it on the channel. Lots of Star Wars talk, especially when Last Jedi came out. I was not a big fan of that movie, so I did maybe about 10 videos on Last Jedi, breaking down everything I did not like and some things that I did like. So yeah, World of Geekdom is the channel.
So youtube.com/World of Geekdom.
Yeah, I can't do like the Super Friends variety show like I did 10 years ago. So this is kind of like a replacement in that I get to talk about whatever I want. And no, it's not youtube.com/World of Geekdom. No, that's not the link. Just look for World of Geekdom, because YouTube does not give you your own link like that anymore. It's like youtube.com/ like a bunch of letters.
There's no vanity links on YouTube? Wow.
There's no vanity links on YouTube. Well, there's one for my main channel, but not for this channel.
You gotta hit like a follower number or something to get the vanity link.
I did it the first time, and I think I forgot how to do it the second time. So there might be a vanity link, and I just don't know what it is, which is not good. I mean, but if you type in World of Geekdom on YouTube, you'll find it. I'll give you a link. So if they find your shit on the blog post, they can click it.
I will link it in both the post and the RSS feed to the podcast, so the links will be in there.
Great.
Okay, so you got your business out of the way quickly on my end. Fight Game Podcast is our main feed, and podcasts include this one, the Fight Game Podcast, and this is going to be, you and I chit-chatting about WrestleMania pretty much weekly until we get to the big show, though we are skipping next week only because I'm out of town, so that's my fault.
And that's too bad, because it's going to be a big week.
I know. And that's why we're doing it this week, because this is kind of like the kickoff to what we're going to do this year. But, yeah, my bad. I'm out of town. But I'll be back the next week, and we'll go weekly up until the big show. And so on this channel, you will hear the Fight Game Podcast, the Fabulous Four podcast with me and our buddy Doohan from Dublin. He and I are talking about the four great
Bobby Silva's on there. Bobby Silva's on there too.
Yeah, he was on one of those podcasts. We're talking about the great welterweights of the 80s, Duran, Leonard, Hearns, Hagler, and the Ball So Hard podcast, which is your favorite one.
The name pops me.
And then John LaRocca, my buddy John, and I are going to do a podcast on Ric Flair called We Want Flair, and that will come out fairly soon. That'll be a little bit less frequent than this, but that's just based on our schedules and such. So that's what you'll find here. And if you can subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Stitcher and Google Play and SoundCloud and all that, give us the Jericho Omega 5-star rating. You know what I've realized in
Yes.
Apple Podcasts is, if you have like an old podcast that you don't even update, simply because you've been in their system for so long, you get really good search ratings. And so, you can search like for the Fight Game Podcast, and like it's still like 10th or something. So if we get a few more ratings, maybe we'll be higher in the search algorithm. But all those old podcasts that don't even update anymore are higher than us. All right, so help a brother out. Give us those 5 stars.
I do want to clarify, too, the podcast is wrestling, MMA, and boxing. So it's just pretty much all combat sports, whether it be real or predetermined. Doesn't matter.
Absolutely. Okay, so first question. Are you going to WrestleMania in New Orleans?
I am. I actually purchasing my ticket tomorrow. I thought it was going to be tonight, but the lady who I'm going through is tomorrow. I will be attending, as of right now, unless something bad happens, I will be attending with number 76 from the Green Bay Packers, Mike Daniels. I'm very, very happy about this. We're going to be sitting in the 5th row, brother, which is going to be absolutely nuts, bro. And it's just crazy because he's telling me, he's like, I'm going to annoy you all weekend because I'm going to be asking you wrestling questions, because he's one of those guys that, even though he's friends with like our boy Etor, he's got friends in the business, he stopped watching wrestling for like years, so I have to kind of fill him in on that stuff.
Okay, you can't just drop the Etor without saying Big E.
Big E, he actually looks just like Big E too, except he's probably tougher. No offense to Big E, but yeah, and Xavier and those guys, they're a bunch of Dragon Ball nerds, so they're probably fans of mine. I haven't got confirmation on that yet, but I presume they are, which is so weird to say, by the way. It's so weird to say. I just want to say this, and this is not a humble brag, and you're going to accuse me of a humble brag, but it's not. It's very weird and unusual for me to talk to actual NFL superstars and people from CBS Sports. I got a dude from CBS Sports, bro, a journo, one of your people.
A journo.
He's a journal, and he's a fanboy for Dragon Ball, and he's sending me DMs all the time like, dude, what do you think about this and that and this character? And I'm like, dude, you're like a CBS Sports guy, dude. He's got one of them check marks on Twitter, one of them. He's like, yeah, but I like Dragon Ball, and it's like, all right, it's weird to me, like you think of it as this like kids thing, but this series resonated with so many people in the sports world, because a lot of it's about training, right?
Right.
They train to get stronger, so it resonates with these people, and I never thought that I would ever talk to them. I'm going to WrestleMania with a football player. That's weird.
Okay, so
it's weird to me.
Explain your relationship and how you guys kind of met through your channel and through Twitter and all that stuff. Because it's a pretty cool story, just the fact that you, who don't really like football that much, and this guy is such
hold on, let's clarify something. I do like football, I just stopped following it for a couple years, just like how Mike did wrestling.
But you have a specific shirt that says
I do have that shirt, yeah, and I'm gonna probably buy one for him as well because him and I had a conversation one night that would be very interesting. That's all I'm gonna say about that.
Well, if you do want to discuss whether or not football is a work with Mike, we can do it on Ball So Hard. So that would be one.
We have, and it was a fun conversation, man.
Okay, so. The thing about this, and I'll we'll get to the wrestling thing really quickly, but I'm so intrigued with this Dragon Ball stuff because, so I was talking to my kid, so he goes to the University of Arizona, and I recently had to deactivate my DirecTV. And so little did I know, he was using my DirecTV account to watch Dragon Ball in some way. I don't know exactly what app he was using, but
Crunchyroll.
Okay, whatever it is. But he was using my DirecTV login to watch Dragon Ball. It's like, I didn't even know you were watching. I didn't even know you were really into it. Like, I mean, other than when he was younger. So
you were confused, I'm sure.
No, I mean, it's, knowing you, I know that it's mainstream enough out here to where people are watching it, and you're the popularity of your channel shows that as well.
I meant more so confused about what was going on because the show, they've been doing a Royal Rumble for about a year now in this arc, and it's a better Rumble than anything WWE's ever done. I'll tell you that much. But that being said, it's so confusing for somebody like if you walk into a room, it's like that whole thing in wrestling where if you walk into a room and you see like Hornswoggle and Chavo Guerrero, and you're like, what the hell am I watching? Like that same thing with Dragon Ball. Like if you walk into a room not having any context, you'll be confused.
So quickly, so you are doing your shows on YouTube, you're tweeting about it, and a football player who I'm assuming that you didn't know was really a football player when he first hit you up was like, hey man, I really like this Dragon Ball stuff, and you guys started to chit chat. Is that kind of how you met?
Well, he followed me. I didn't realize that he had followed me until later, and then I followed him back. And then he DMs me the weekend of WrestleMania. He's like, yo, man, I'm going to be in Florida if you want to meet up. And we didn't get to meet up, unfortunately. And then after that, he asked me for my phone number. And he called me one day, and we had a conversation. He literally called me on the phone. And we talked. And, yeah, he's a big Dragon Ball fan. And what he's been doing lately, what Mike's been doing lately, I have a whole interview with Mike on Geekdom 101 at the 2-hour-long interview, which is really insightful because I got into a lot of the sports stuff with him too. Lots of real interesting stories about growing up, like, from high school to college to pros. I'm very proud of it. But we talked about this, right? And he's been trying to kind of show the world that you can be a fan of anime and video games and wrestling and still be a serious professional athlete. In other words, he's trying to fuse the nerd and the jock. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much what's been happening because there are going to be several people from the NFL coming to WrestleMania, including somebody from the world champion Eagles, I found out. So it's one of those things where, that people who are professional athletes nowadays in this generation grew up with these shows and they're still nerds. And his whole thing is, nerds and jocks should be one and the same. And they are. So that's what's been going on. And you wouldn't believe how many NFL guys are into this stuff. You wouldn't believe it.
No, I mean, I can believe it. I still think there's sort of a closeted aspect to the fandom sometimes. I'm sure there are more than just the people who we see or who WWE brings in who are fans. Like I know a baseball player for the Giants, because he's in Arizona for spring training. When WWE was in Arizona this week. He was backstage, and Hunter Pence, if you remember in 2014, he was using the Diego Sanchez, Daniel Bryan yes chant during that whole season, and so that wrestling fans may remember him from then. But he was backstage, so it is. There are tons of fans. They may not be super hardcore into it like you and me, but I definitely think it's there. But still, there are some folks who are a little bit more closeted than others, and I totally get that. Being a wrestling fan since I was 8 years old or whatever.
And we've also got Xavier, who is a wrestler, but he's also going for his PhD. And he's also he also has a YouTube channel, Up, Up, Down, Down. And I know when you watch the video he did with Paige, there's some Up, Up, Down, Down. But the point is, he covers like nerdy fighting games on
Yep.
there. So these nerds are all freaking jocks, and he's an athlete. So it just Mike wants to bring that to the forefront. He wants to showcase his anime pride. So there you go.
Okay, so what people who know us may not know is that I think I've known you since you were like 17 years old.
You know me since I was 18.
18, so through the internet, through AOL Instant Messenger.
You may be the oldest internet person that I have ever known, actually. Like, that I met on the internet, as creepy as that may sound.
And so you're in your early 30s now, so that's, 14 years-ish, 15 years, whatever. But you and I have never actually met in person. You did.
Yeah, every Mania that you go to, I skip, and every one that I go to, you skip.
Exactly. And so you're going to the big show this year. I am going to the weekend, but I'm not actually staying for Mania. And so... it's a long 4 or 5 days in New Orleans, so I'm totally fine because I kind of like watching the show, with friends and stuff back home. So that's I'm totally fine. I like going to that show too, but I'm fine coming home. But so you and me need to meet up at some point, and as well as Alan 4L, who's kind of been a contributor to Fight Game Blog for a little while, I guess 2008
since the beginning.
Yeah, 08 or 09 or something like that. And I remember originally I wanted it to be mostly about MMA because MMA was popping at that point. And then Alan was like, well, I can do some of that stuff, but I have a friend, his name is Doohan, who would be a lot better at it than me. And he's like, you should add him. And I was like, all right, bring on Doohan. And Doohan is also a huge boxing fan, so that fit. And so then at some point we just decided, it doesn't have to be only about MMA. We can do it about wrestling and MMA and boxing. And so, we've been kind of, doing this together on and off, for like 9 years now. So it would actually be cool to for all of us to be in one place at the same time. The only person who may be missing is Cactus Jim.
Cactus, yeah, that sucks.
So anyways, what is your plan around that weekend? Are you going to try to get in early and catch some of the indie shows? Do you only plan to go to the WWE stuff? Have you even thought about that yet?
I have not thought about it yet. I'm probably going to do Hall of Fame, NXT, and Mania and just keep it nice and simple. And I'm going to eat a lot. That's one thing I will do is eat because New Orleans food, when I went for WrestleMania 30, was so damn addicting. So I'm going to be eating a lot. Lots of food, lots of eating. And I'm now on a very strict, well, not very strict, quasi-strict diet. It's not that strict, all right? I'm not going to bullshit you. But the point is that I'm trying to lose a little bit of weight. But that weekend is going to be my Thanksgiving, bro. I'm going to let go because I love food there. Other than that, I'm probably not going to do anything else. Like, I want to see the Hall of Fames. I want to see our boy Double J get in. The story that I broke before anybody else, including Meltzer. That's all I'm going to say. And Satin. But that being said, yeah,
we'll get to that. Don't worry. You'll be able to toot your horn a little bit.
I will humble brag. No, but that being said, yeah, I'm not gonna do much beyond that. Like, and to be honest, like I've already done the Ring of Honor thing and the Evolve thing and the Dragon Gate thing years ago, and it's like I'm sure that it's fun. It's just I just rather enjoy like the culture of New Orleans again versus because I've already been there versus like doing all that stuff. I mean, but again, I thought about just coming in for Mania. I was gonna come in just for Mania, but I'm like, nah, I'm gonna hit up the at least the Hall of Fame.
So my plan is
yeah, I know your plan is crazy.
My plan is to go to Wale Mania, and then the next day go to 3 shows pretty much back to back to back with I think it's Rev Pro and Progress, and then the WWN Super Show, and then fly out really early Saturday morning. So I'll get the whole, I'll get sort of 2 days, maybe a day and a half worth of stuff, and then I'm out. But yeah, I mean, it'll be fun nonetheless, depending, for those, I know that, Alan and Doohan are staying a lot longer and they're sort of soaking it up. This might be Doohan's first time at WrestleMania weekend. I know Alan's been several times, so it'll be cool. But hopefully we get to hang out and at least, for a short time, say hi to each other, which would be great. Get a picture and all that stuff.
I met Alan in 2012, and that's when the same night I also met Sid Vicious, the man who claims he couldn't fly in the United States because he didn't have a passport. Let's not forget that story.
Exactly. Okay, so let's start with probably the biggest news surrounding WrestleMania, which was the thing that you told me before I heard it from anybody else, that the plan, and I think this is still the plan, even though nothing has been announced, and who knows if it actually goes to fruition, but the plan for WrestleMania...
There's a lot of plans.
The big one was to have Ronda Rousey and The Rock against Triple H and Steph in a tag team match, mixed tag, as sort of like the... It's not necessarily the main event, but it is the big match. You get The Rock.
It's
and
the
Ronda
main event. It's the mainstream main event. Can we call it that?
Right.
Yeah.
So you were the one. You were the first person I saw that had actually posted it. And you and I had talked a little bit before. You tweeted it out, but yeah, from the first person, you even outscooped Mike Scoops Johnson.
I outscooped Mike Johnson, Satin, your boy Dave. Now, in Dave's defense, he is on the West Coast, so 3 hours behind. That's obviously a thing. But yeah, now the thing about that match is it's probably not going to be The Rock. It's probably going to be Kurt Angle, because there's something – I forget the actual explanation, but The Rock does not really want to wrestle because of some insurance thing. So he got hurt last time against John Cena.
Yep.
Really hurt, right? And so remember, they planned to do a Rock-Brock match that we never got. And so – as far as I know, The Rock's not going to be doing it, but Kurt Angle makes sense because they were going to do Kurt Angle and Triple H at WrestleMania before the Ronda thing got finalized. So that being said, it makes sense that, they put them together. And, you got to have Angle and Hunter work the majority of the match. Then you're going to have Steph come in there with Ronda. And it's probably going to be a train wreck, but, hey, they got to do it at some point.
So if Rock is not in the match, do you still think he's a part of this show, or because he's not actually wrestling in it, that they're not going to really worry about him too much being a part of it?
I have no idea, but he might. I mean, for all we know, he might corner. Ronda and Kurt Angle. I have no idea. I don't know, but it's going to be weird because we're essentially having a match that's 4 part-timers, which I'm okay with because it's 4 part-timers. So you can't really complain about so-and-so doing a job or whatever the case may be. I don't think Ronda's going to lose, but I find it funny that Team Triple H might lose, and that's 3 in a row for him. He's never lost 3 WrestleManias in a row, ever. So this will be a first. But I think Steph will be the one to take the pinfall or the submission. It'll be the armbar finish most likely, right?
So what do you think about what Meltzer wrote, I think it was the week after the Royal Rumble, which was that the whole, one of the main reasons for bringing Ronda in is to kind of up the Q rating of one Stephanie McMahon.
I've never heard the word Q rating before. What does that mean?
Okay, I kind of aged myself with that. But sort of like, the status, the celebrity status, trying to get her a little bit more into the mainstream by having, Ronda with her.
Yeah, this Ronda signing was a really good idea. We don't even have to talk about that. She's obviously not coming back to MMA. She's a fan of the business. She knows how to talk. Maybe not the way they want, but she's definitely a good talker, as we saw on The Ultimate Fighter. She is legit. She has credibility, even though she's lost a few fights. She still has credibility, and she's a mainstream sports star. I don't know how much they're paying her, but she's right up there with them signing Lesnar, I think, as far as really getting WWE into mainstream. And she's a woman, so it's going to help that whole, that thing they have going on with their want to really have the women's revolution. So this was one of the most brilliant signings they've ever done. Like this, it could blow up in their face. She might be a terrible wrestler, but I don't think they care about that right now.
So what do you think about a possible backlash? There's a certain subsection.
That's in May, isn't it? Isn't Backlash in May?
Yes. Not WWE Backlash, but a backlash that Ronda may get from a certain subsection of wrestling fans who don't think she deserves it. Who may be slightly virginal in their nature.
You had to go there, bro.
But do you think that's possible? Because I feel like, at least from reading on Twitter and stuff, there is a certain part of hardcore, and maybe they're not hardcore, of wrestling fans who are like, oh, she's taking away opportunities from other people, and what is
You mean the same thing The Rock got like 3 years ago or whatever, like 5 years ago?
And Brock for being a part-timer, and all that stuff. Like it's so ridiculous that they don't some of these fans don't understand the big picture, which is Ronda actually brings more awareness to their thing that they love, but maybe they don't want that many people to know about it. Maybe they want it to still be their small thing. I don't know.
I mean, you got to make money, bro, and this is a business of making money. And with all due respect to, Carmella and Ruby Riott, I'm sorry, but you don't draw money, honey, and that's the truth. They don't. And if WWE's goal is to make another woman that draws them money, obviously they have people that they can use. Like they have Asuka, who they've been protecting, obviously Charlotte. Now, I'm not saying these are money draws, but I'm saying with Ronda there in the mix with those girls, she could help elevate those girls to, top status. But they tried to headline a pay-per-view with Charlotte against Sasha Banks, and it didn't really work out as well as they wanted to. I feel like headlining with Ronda will work out. You could easily headline SummerSlam with Ronda Rousey against Asuka, or Ronda Rousey against Charlotte, Ronda Rousey against Alexa Bliss, excuse me, and it could work out. Ronda, those people, with all due respect, don't understand the magnitude of star that Ronda Rousey is. Now, in their defense, Ronda's not the same star now she was like 3 years ago. She was a superstar like 3 years ago. Obviously, it's not the case anymore, but still, she's a star, and she's a mainstream star. She's going to get them on SportsCenter, for at least the first year, right? So I just don't see how. I mean, people are going to bitch about everything, bro. Like, that's just how it is. They complain about everything. Trust me, I know it now. Working in this business as an entertainer, I deal with it myself.
So so I agree with just about everything that you said about that. Now, they are banking on Ronda to at least be somewhat frequent. I hope not too frequent, because I don't think she's doing house shows every weekend, bro.
Well,
even TV. I would hate to see her on TV every week, because I think it would hurt her aura a little bit. But what do you think the plan is, or could be, for her? Because let's say that she is working Stephanie McMahon at WrestleMania, which I think is a safe and smart thing. I always thought that should have been the first match, only because it's going to be smoke and mirrors. But if she does a match with someone like Charlotte or Asuka, like right away, like she's going to have to kind of be okay at wrestling. And, she's still a beginner. And so what do you see as a possible progression of what she can do, let's say, for 2018? Do you see her moving from Stephanie to then Charlotte to Asuka? Or do you think that they'll do that they'll just throw her right in and she's like working, everybody, that like kind of how they do it now, where, Asuka, she started kind of, I think she's worked, just about every woman on Raw, and is going to work Nia Jax this week at Elimination Chamber. So I'm just kind of wondering how you think, or anything that you've heard about what their plan is for Ronda.
No plans after WrestleMania, bro. That's the weird thing. But I'm sure what they're going to do, I'm not sure, but I would guess is, because they're smart, let me take that back. Sometimes they're smart, is you've got Ronda's first match at WrestleMania. That's your drawing card. Then you wait and you say, let's say in June or maybe even at SummerSlam, Ronda's first one-on-one match, if she's ready. And then you have another way of promoting that pay-per-view. Ronda one-on-one. One thing I don't want them to do is I do not want them to give her the 94 Hulk Hogan WCW push. I don't want her to win the belt her second match. Right. Please don't do that. I think they should actually have Ronda come out and cut a promo and say, this is a new sport for me, and I want to start from the bottom. Give me your best, and have her actually work. Like, start out with, have her tap out like Emma, or I don't even know if she's there anymore.
No, because actually she's working APW in March over here, so she's not there anymore.
That's right. Yeah, the Walmart thief. Have her tap out whoever, bro. Like, have her, do a quick match with Carmella. I mean, I'm just picking a name. Carmella, whoever, bro. Like, maybe Bayley at this point, bro, because Bayley ain't going to get Bayley will get a win next time the the Cleveland Browns going to win. But she, have her tap somebody out quickly and then kind of go from there. The thing that really sucks is that with Ronda, you don't want her to have long matches. You want to book her like Goldberg, but she's only going to get better if she has long matches. So you know what? I say you do book her on some house shows, not every weekend, but you book her on house shows and you purposely make those house show matches 15 minutes. That way she can learn how to work. If she really wants to do this full time, she's got to learn how to work. But you do not want to do Charlotte. I think the 3 big opponents for her are Charlotte, Bliss, actually 4. Charlotte, Bliss, Sasha, and Asuka, and maybe even Ember Moon. You got to hold those off, dude. Those are big pay-per-view matches if you ask me.
Well, here's another way that you can sort of gimmick her.
Oh, wait, I forgot about – what about her friend? What's her friend's name again?
Shayna
Baszler. Yeah, you could always do something with her later on.
That's what I was thinking is you can sort of gimmick it a little bit into where she doesn't have to do necessarily, one-on-one matches. If you bring Shayna up and it's Ronda and Shayna against Charlotte and Becky Lynch, or against Bayley and Sasha Banks, as another way to let Shayna do a lot of the stuff early on, and then Ronda comes in with the hot tag or whatever, however you want to do it. But there are ways, like you said, to be creative in this, and I agree with you. I don't. It's kind of hard because, like you said, the best way to book her is kind of in squashes or quick arm, like kind of how she got over in the UFC, right? Like she beat Betch Correia in like 30 seconds or whatever. And
it's gonna work, but also I think, just real quick, if she does work television, you can't just hot shot it. I do not want them to hot shot it and say Ronda's working tonight. No, they gotta say in 2 weeks on Monday Night Raw. If they want to pop a rating, they gotta let it build up, bro. That ESPN cover on SportsCenter, you know what I mean? Like, you can't just hotshot and say, "Oh, in the third hour tonight you're gonna work." I don't like that. They need to really. They have to use this woman's star power as smartly as they can, because the reality is that luster is gonna wear off at some point. You know what I mean? Let's be real about it. It happens to everyone. Even Brock doesn't even happen anymore.
So let's actually get to Brock, because he was my next topic, which is. There's a lot of rumors about what Brock's going to do. Some folks think that he's not going to re-sign with WWE and he's going to go back to UFC and do a fight, because he can basically make as much with one fight in UFC as he can in WWE for the whole year. But what I say is, why doesn't he just do both? Because Vince has already proven that he will allow Brock to fight under contract with WWE. What do you think about what Brock's going to do after his contract expires?
I think he's going to fight in UFC one more time. I do. I think he will fight in UFC. Won't be against John Jones, but I think he'll fight in UFC again. And John No Bones Jones, as people have been calling him lately. But I think he will fight in UFC, and I think he might re-sign with WWE after he does that fight. Especially if he loses. Like, if he loses, then he'll probably resign. I just don't see him ending his wrestling career, because I think he's having too much fun, and I think he's protected enough that he doesn't have to. But he's got enough money where he doesn't have to do anything, bro. But I mean, he's got such a sweet deal, dude. I mean, the guy works, about 10 times a year, including house shows, 10, 11 times a year, and he comes out on TV and just talks. So he's got a sweet deal, but he's also a hard worker. Even though I know people are saying that nowadays, his recent year, he hasn't really been working that hard. I don't know if I agree with that or not. He hasn't had like the crazy matches he used to have, like with CM Punk and Triple H. Like, those matches were crazy. Obviously, I think those were better. But, I just think that I think it's such a sweet deal, bro, that I would keep that gravy train going as long as possible. I'm not saying that he shouldn't fight in UFC. I'm saying after that, I don't see why he won't come back.
So what would you do? Okay, so let's say, and we've heard about this match as the title match, Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, for the longest time. Over a year,
right? Over a year.
So
yes, a year ago.
Let's say that Reigns, finally beats Brock, and that'll be 3 WrestleManias in a row where Reigns is kind of technically crowned. He beats Triple H at 32, beats Taker at 33, and now Brock at 34. Let's say he wins the belt. He's crowned for the 3rd year in a row. How would you bring Brock back? Would you just bring him back normally, like as his current character, or would you slightly freshen him up? Would you maybe bring him back as a babyface? Like, how do you bring Brock back after, let's say he does go to UFC and maybe he comes back, late for maybe in August or something?
I have no idea. I couldn't answer that right now. It just depends on how things go. If he comes back, you could always. I mean, I don't know. I don't know because I don't know what their direction is. Like we know up until Mania. After that, it's a big question. Like it's a big blur. And maybe we'll get a report about what the Mania 35 plan is because they have that planned. But that being said, I couldn't answer that right now. There's so many ways they can do it. He might not come back right away though. He might not come back till maybe next year for all we know. I mean, or maybe November at Survivor Series. But there's still tons of guys for him to wrestle. I mean, he hasn't had that one-on-one with Seth since the one they had at. What was that pay-per-view called? That 2015, that terrible show, bro, that horrible show. He had one there. And then the Finn Balor match, they want to try with him again. And they also we haven't seen Brock and they got the Brock Samoa Joe rematch in their back pocket, the Brock Braun Strowman rematch in their back pocket. I think if he does come back at some point, he's gonna have to put over Braun Strowman because that's the other guy they want to get over. So I think that would be the direction they would go in. If he comes back for Mania next year, maybe he should put over Braun Strowman. I don't know. It also depends on how long he signs for. I mean, there's a lot of different variables here. I couldn't answer that right now.
I think it would increase his leverage. Now, this is just sort of me speaking out of turn because I am not a main event box office draw. But I think it would. Yeah, 460-something people definitely think you are.
480,000, my friend.
I looked at that number today.
Stevie J'd me, bro. Stevie J'd me.
I wanted to bring out that number, but I even looked at it today. I asked my kid how much because I told him about your channel.
Well, I appreciate the sub.
So I wonder if he's thinking, okay, how do I increase my leverage? Maybe I go away for 6 months and then I'll see sort of what the waters are like while I'm gone. Because Vince McMahon could just go, look, we will give you your same deal times X and then maybe that's good enough for him. But if he's really looking to increase leverage, going away is not an issue. And I wonder, here's what I really wonder. Is he looking at what Chris Jericho did, going to New Japan Pro Wrestling?
I don't think New Japan can afford him, bro.
Sure. Maybe not. But I'm just saying what Jericho did. And Lesnar's New Japan is actually the UFC, right? That's what
way more money.
Jericho's really just kind of following the Lesnar plan by going to UFC. But if he can use the leverage of, playing them against each other like he did the last time, because Brock Lesnar at utmost is a really smart businessman. I don't know if it's him or if it's people around him or if it's Heyman or whoever, but he's very smart and I wonder if he will use that leverage because I look at what happens after this WrestleMania and I'm just like, what the heck are they going to do? Is it going to be the Shield reuniting and breaking up all year again? Is like that storyline? Like, because what else do they have? Nobody else is really over, to any degree. I guess so maybe AJ and Nakamura after Mania, but nobody's really over. And so, what do you do post WrestleMania? That's why I think Chris Jericho is going to have a lot of leverage whenever he
Bobby
decides.
Lashley might be coming in.
Lashley could come in. Maybe Drew McIntyre, healthy, comes back. But really, there's no big main event, big guns, that they have up their sleeve, later this year that I can think of at least. Can you think of anybody who's out there in the wrestling world that they haven't used who may possibly be money?
Kenny Omega, brother. But that's not till next year. I think based on what we saw Monday, which, by the way, that first half of Raw was awesome. I love the idea. I just want to say.
It was more than half. It was like, I guess it was, an hour and 40 minutes. So, yeah, it was a little bit more than half.
A little bit more than half. And I always love when they do things like that. It's very rare, but it's been done before. Jim Cornette had an entire episode of OVW that was a battle royal, took up the entire episode. There was a famous TNA episode that ain't that famous where it was Sting, Kurt Angle, and Rhino in a three-way and took up the entire show. It was like the entire 1 hour show was that match.
It's amazing that you remember that, by the way, because I have no recollection of that.
Well, the only reason I remember is because it's one of those things that it takes up the entire show. Like whenever I see a match that takes up an entire show, or at least a big chunk of it, here's one you'll remember: Shawn and Cena in the UK. Remember that took up the entire second hour.
I remember. Yeah,
Another one is Benoit and Triple H in the Iron Man match in 2004. And then also Lesnar and Kurt Angle in their Iron Man match in 2003 on SmackDown. Yeah, I always have a funny idea when they have hour-long matches on TV. But anyways, this was longer than an hour.
It popped the rating, that's for sure.
Because it was so cool. And I'm actually, when I'm watching it, I'm like thinking that I actually thought it was going to take up the entire 3-hour show. I was like, these fucking guys booked 7 people on this show and saved money. Because I remember, it reminds me of like this Gabe Sapolsky interview, right? Where a long time ago they asked him, they were like, so what, when you book Survival of the Fittest, like, why do you do it? And he's like, well, if the excuse I can book 12 guys and that's it. He only books 12, and that was the idea, like, because Survival of the Fittest is 6 matches, qualifying matches, then you have a 6-way at the end of the night. That's pretty much what it is. You only book 12 guys. That's it. You save money. Yeah, so I'm thinking they did that, but I loved it. So yeah, I don't know what to tell you. But it's one of those things where I loved it, and what I was going to get to is the fact that Seth pinned Cena and Roman. I think that's like a little indicator of, and this is good booking. This is good, solid booking. After Mania, a Seth Roman feud, whether it be face versus face or wherever they go, I think that's where they go, and I think I'm okay with it. Yeah. Hey, I beat you on that one Raw. Remember?
Well, they've been teasing this since the Rumble when Roman threw Seth out of the Rumble, and so yeah, no, I think it's fine too, but I don't think it stops the normal post WrestleMania haziness, right, where people just stop caring for 5 months or whatever it is. But, Vince McMahon and Triple H are going to pull something, maybe someone from NXT, maybe Gargano catches fire. Hell, maybe
Garganus.
Maybe Daniel Bryan finds a way to get cleared. Because he's like clearly he and Shane are the most over guys on SmackDown, and they don't even wrestle.
He and Shane is like the hottest feud they can do. Doesn't that suck?
It's great. I love the interplay. It feels a little long now because they've been doing it for so long, and it's just like, well, can you guys fight already? And it's like, no, well, they can't really fight, so we're just going to keep going. But imagine if he could get cleared. That would be a real big boon to the end of this year. But if not, then he's probably gonna do something else because his contract will expire.
I'll tell you what, brother. If he goes to New Japan and we see Danielson Okada and Danielson, Omega, man, like, talk about making that product even better, dude.
Yeah.
He could pull that. He could pull the Jericho thing, bro.
What do you think about Taker and Cena at this point? Do they do it?
Another story I broke.
Did you really break this one?
Well, I sort of did. I was the first one that went public with it. Remember, Big Dave was giving us hints, but I had to double check. Someone I know told me some stuff. Edit that out. And other people told me some stuff, and then when the other person told me, it was like, yeah, it's happening. So, yeah. But I made it public. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
I want to see it. I really do. I was excited for it. I think if Taker's healthy, I want to see it. And I'm gonna give you a prediction right now, bro. I believe the Undertaker will win. I think he's gonna win and ride off into the sunset with a W, retiring. And Cena will go into a storyline where he's going to question himself and probably take some more time off. And then when he comes back, the next heel will kind of make fun of him for losing the Undertaker, and that'll lead to the next feud. Cena's comeback run. He loses, but he's going to do a comeback sometime later in the year or next year. And you could even do a storyline where he goes for the belt again. Maybe he'll lose that, and then he's going to do that whole
He's got to get to Flair's record, right?
Yeah, and maybe he fails, and maybe he's like, do I have it anymore? And that's a great, compelling storyline right there. Do I have it anymore? I'm not that old, So again, there's lots of things they could do.
I would actually like to see that. I would actually like to see Taker win, and then Cena's kind of doing that now. What's my purpose for WrestleMania? I don't have a road to WrestleMania.
When he loses, though, I want him to look at his hands. Like, know. Look up at the gods. Like, what happened here?
What are you feeling with AJ and Nakamura? Now, the SmackDown still has another pay-per-view in early March, which is
it's going to be AJ Nakamura.
Yes, it will be AJ Nakamura. But I guess we can't really sort of test how hot that match is going to be until they're done with Fastlane and they finish up the storyline with Owens and Sami Zayn and AJ. But I feel like that is expected to be the match of the night, and everyone is looking at their match from Wrestle Kingdom several years ago and saying, like, that they're going to recreate that. I don't think they're going to recreate that, but I still think it's going to be pretty darn good.
What do you think of the chances that they're going to cut up for time, bro? To be a 10-minute match. You know it's a possibility. You know it's happened so many times.
This is like Mysterio and Randy Orton and Kurt Angle all over again.
No, Mysterio and CM Punk. Remember, that was the big one. Remember, WrestleMania 26. That was the one where they gave Brett. I was there. Yeah, they gave Brett and Vince like an hour, and they gave CM Punk and Ray like 10 minutes, and Punk bitched about it. Rightfully so, because they had a good 10 minutes. But yeah, I hope it doesn't cut for time. But that being said, it's not going to match up to Wrestle Kingdom, bro. Listen, Lazy Mora's Lazy Mora now. But what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to heat up Nakamura, because I don't think I think he's over, but I don't think he's ready for that big push yet. So I really hope they do some good character stuff on SmackDown with this guy. Maybe what they should do is do some classic personality profiles and like really let the fans kind of learn who he is. More about him as a family man and things like that. I would like that. I know they haven't done that in a while, but I would like that, and I think it would work out for him.
You're not even going to give credit to the Lazy Moron nickname? You're going to act like you created that one?
I did not create that. No, Draven created the Lazy Moron nickname,
okay.
But no, of course, bro. But that being said, I hope that we don't see Lazy Mora at WrestleMania. I think that they realize that if they this is the advantage of having two world titles. They've got Roman and Lesnar as the big like two monsters going at it. This is like the wrestling match. This is basically what the Intercontinental title would have been in a previous era. That's what this is right here. Smaller guys, better workers. It could be that they're going for like a Steamboat Savage, like middle of the card, great match. Then they're gonna end it with they're gonna end it with Lesnar and Roman. Even though I have a weird feeling that Taker and Cena might close the show, I don't know yet, but I don't think so either, because the Roman coronation and Lesnar's departure I think is a bigger story than Cena versus Taker, but. I wouldn't be surprised, because it's The Undertaker.
The only other match, at least as far as I remember, that's been rumored is
no, there's a few. Nia Jax versus Alexa Bliss.
Okay, when I say rumored, I should have said that they're sort of teasing on television. We'll get to that, but we'll get to the other two. Because you also did mention those before anybody else. But Ms. Strowman, I'm out on this one. I don't think this is going to be good at all.
This is the match that I think is going to be. This is what I think it should be, and what it probably will be is 3 minutes. Miz Taraj comes in, Strowman takes them all out, like throws them over the top. We see some wacky spot. He grabs Miz, finisher 1, 2, 3, new Intercontinental Champion. That's the match that should like open the show. Like that should be this year's Sheamus versus Daniel Bryan Mania 28. Like that's what they should do with this. It's not going to be a long match. I mean, it could be. It could be Miz, like, smoke and mirroring, but I think this should be a quick squash and Strowman wins the fucking belt. That's the way I see it.
Okay, so the other two matches that you were going to bring up, the first one is Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax as like the sort of besties turned enemies. And then Charlotte and Asuka, and those are the two that you had mentioned right around the same time that you mentioned the other the Ronda and Rock and Steph and Triple H match. So those are, I guess, yes. those are the other two that are rumored. Is there anything else?
No, but what, rumors? You mean?
Yeah.
No, not that I've heard. But there's the cruiserweight title's going to end there, right? Tournament's going to end at WrestleMania, right? Correct?
Yeah, they just put out the bracket today. And it's if you think that Cedric Alexander is going to come out on one side, it's possible that maybe Mark Andrews comes out on the other side. But
I'd be all right with that.
I mean, that'll be a really good match, but it'll probably still be on the 2-hour preview or the 2-hour kickoff show rather than the actual pay-per-view.
I agree. They're probably going to do the Andre gimmick again, the Andre Battle Royal gimmick. And I'm thinking, what about Seth? What's he doing? Because I'm thinking, because we're going to look at all the top guys, right? Like Seth could be feuding with Elias, or maybe Seth and Finn Balor, because I feel like the Seth Finn Balor might be something they could do. They gotta do something for Seth.
I think that would be the better one, but they often don't like to do the babyface stuff. But then again, when they needed it, they did go to AJ and Finn Balor.
What about Bray Wyatt? And is it going to be Bray and Matt Hardy?
Oh man, I mean, if they do that. And I from what Big Dave wrote in last week's Observer, they might be able to use some of the TNA stuff from the broken Matt Hardy stuff, and so they can maybe do it properly because the woken Matt Hardy stuff is not really getting over, and Bray is kind of the kiss of death for any of his competitors. I think Bray, I can't remember the last good feud he's been in. Him and Randy Orton from last year might win Feud of the Year in the Observer.
He's been in
worst Feud of the Year. I mean,
he's never been in a good feud, bro. Look back.
Well, the Wyatt family and the Shield stuff was good.
Yeah, but that was like a 1 month thing, though.
Yeah,
I mean, and the Bray Wyatt Roman Reigns feud was terrible. No, it sucks because they kind of lost an opportunity. I feel here because. Bray Wyatt's character was somewhat retconned. The original idea with Bray Wyatt's character in NXT or whatever, or FCW when he was with Eli Cottonwood, was that he was a Cajun from Louisiana. So obviously they're going back to New Orleans, right? And what better idea would it have been if they didn't retcon the character and they said that they turn him babyface? This is the year to do it. You turn him babyface and you put him up against Elias or whoever, I don't know who, right? A heel, The Miz, whatever. And I think it would have been more compelling, I think, to do Bray Wyatt and The Miz for the Intercontinental with Bray Wyatt as a babyface with all the New Orleans people, kind of that fake home field advantage because he's from Tampa, bro. He's from where I live. He's not from New Orleans, but I mean the character is. So I mean, you can do things like that, but they're not going to do it. So I think what they're probably going to end up doing now that we're talking about is they're probably going to do some kind of 5-way, Bray versus Matt versus Jeff, who might be back by then, versus Finn versus Seth, whoever's left over versus Elias. But we're seeing a 6-way or a 7-way in the chamber. So I don't know, bro. I don't know. There's a lot of guys that are being left off this thing.
And plus they can't really do the Money in the Bank stuff anymore because that has its own pay-per-view.
Yeah, well, we've also got Charlotte and Asuka, which is going to be the women's great wrestling match of the evening, or so we hope.
Yeah, I think that'll be fun. That'll definitely be fun. But I think the Asuka character, because I still don't think she can lose. I think if she's close to losing, because Charlotte, is their top girl, and Asuka then beats Charlotte, I think it could be pretty good drama and pretty good sort of again, sort of the women's revolution. They put on this really good match, and they get a lot of applause.
It's smart because if Asuka's going to go to SmackDown, and this is the plan as of a month ago, they may have changed their minds on this, okay? If Asuka's going to go to SmackDown, that keeps her away from Ronda. So they've got another year to build up the Ronda-Asuka match. And if they're both using their arm bars to beat women, what better idea than to do WrestleMania 35 with the two undefeated women, Asuka and Ronda Rousey. I mean, it's perfect. Knowing them, they're going to screw it up, but it's perfect. It really is.
And then, you also have the Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn stuff.
They might have a match. They might.
But you know what? I almost feel like, how they have these goofy, WrestleMania hosts. Last year was New Day. I would rather Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn just sort of use their personalities in that kind of role rather than get just rushed to, just a normal, regular match that's kind of meaningless. Did you ever see that Kevin Owens special that they did?
Yes, I did. We talked about it on Lucha Brothers, how Vince told him, are we good? No.
Exactly, right?
I hope that happens again.
Well, he's very passionate. Owens is passionate about his work. He really wants to, to be at a certain level that, maybe he'll never get a chance to be at because WWE is WWE.
He's fat.
Well, it's not even that. It's just outside of, a couple of guys, like no one is allowed to even get close to top level. And I think he's one of them, no matter how good he is of a personality, no matter how good matches he has. I think they've just kind of decided, okay, he can do this, but he will never get here. But I almost wonder if they should just do something, a hosting gig or something, so that they don't waste that. And I would just hate it for them to be a 12th match on the show that's sort of meaningless.
Well, it's gonna be like 15 matches on this damn thing. So I mean, we haven't even talked about the tag titles. Like, who the hell cares? Like, it'll be pre-show shit. The tag belts don't mean anything right now. Like, who knows, bro? They'll fit a bunch of stuff on there though. I just know that the top matches definitely do sound pretty good. From what we're seeing, because there's no match on here that's even like that bad. Like Ronda could blow. But other than that, I mean, all the other Brock and Roman's not going to be a bad match. I don't think so.
No, it'll be good.
It'll be good. The last one was great. The one in California, Santa Clara, was amazing. So I mean, that won't suck. I doubt Seth Rollins and Finn Balor will suck. I mean, that's like an indie dream match right there. Nakamura and AJ won't suck. So right now, the way I don't even think Nia Jax and Alexa will suck. I think the way this card is looking, wrestling wise, like in ring, and I'm not one of those guys that jacks off to in ring wrestling like some of these guys do, but work rate wise, it could be one of the better shows ever. I don't know if it'll top 19, but it could be. Like, it really could be. They have a lot of chances here for it to be.
So I remember, and we'll wrap this up because this is just sort of the kickoff. We'll know a lot more stuff in the next couple weeks, and we'll tease that out for the next show that we do in 2 weeks, but. Last year, I remember you were there and you texted me about halfway through the show and you were like, you know what? This is one of the best WrestleManias I think there's been. And
the first half was really good.
And then the back half of that show was not as good as the first half. And I think that's the problem with these shows is, you mentioned WrestleMania 17 or 19. Like, 19. Those were like 4-hour shows, right? They weren't 6-hour shows.
Well, and we, what killed that show was freaking Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt. I mean, that's just, and I was going to actually say, what the hell's Randy Orton doing for WrestleMania? What's Rusev doing? They have all these guys who are quasi over,
yeah,
and they have no direction right now.
And I think what you mentioned earlier, which is we may see a few multi-man matches. That has to be what's going to happen, because if we already have, technically 8 matches or whatever that we've talked about. And again, they can change at any point because that's nothing is in cement, or as JR would say, nothing is in pen, it's in pencil.
Yeah.
They if you do add, like, say 4 more matches, some of them have to be multi-man or multi-women matches, because they're going to do a multi-women match too to get more women on the card. So plus the Andre Battle Royal, that'll get a lot of guys. But it would be really sad to see someone like Randy Orton being in the Andre Battle Royal.
That's what I was thinking. They're gonna have to stay, but they got to put some stars in there. It can't just be Mojo Rawley. I mean, they got to put some stars.
They got to get Gronk in the Royal Rumble. You got to ask Mike Daniels about Gronk.
That unprofessional son of a bitch, bro. I don't know if I want to, bro. I don't know if I want to. But
wait, why is he unprofessional?
Didn't he, remember that right before the Super Bowl he got suspended because he kicked that one dude?
Oh, yeah.
He cleated him?
No, the guy was on the ground and the play was over and he kind of jumped on him after the
That's
play.
Right. That's right, yeah.
Well,
what about what do you call it? Oh God, I was going to mention somebody who doesn't have a spot at Mania yet.
Joe. We haven't mentioned Samoa Joe.
I don't know if he's going to be ready, but who the hell was I thinking of? Oh, Jinder. What's Jinder going to do? Bobby Roode?
Yeah, that whole thing. I mean, maybe the U.S. title match is like a 6-pack challenge or something.
I'd be all right with that. You know what? If you put Jinder, Bobby Roode, Dolph Ziggler, Randy Orton in like a 6-pack ladder match, that's Mania worthy. I'd be all right.
I think it'd be totally good.
Randy could do the RKO from somebody off the ladder. You know what? That's it right there.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Last year when we were talking about this, we kind of booked maybe the best moment of the whole show, but we just got the match wrong. I think we said that JR should come out and call Lesnar and Goldberg, but he actually came out after we said it. He actually came out to call Roman and Taker, right?
Well, so do you think that JR should do that this year, or maybe even Mauro Ranallo?
No, Mauro will call the night before. He'll call the NXT show the night before, which will be really good. But I think they do have to bring JR in every year. JR is going to be there because he's doing a show the same time as the Wrestling Observer Mailbag show that Big Dave and Brian are going to do. So he'll be there, obviously. So I think they have to do it now. Like whatever the iconic match that isn't them, maybe the title match, he should do it. That might be Cena Taker this year, right? Like that. Maybe that's JR's match.
Yeah, I mean JR calling Taker. I mean Taker's the one who requested, so I don't see why that's a bad idea. Which is too bad because if it were me, I would want him calling like the second half of the show. Like I think what would make sense is Mauro calls the Ronda match because he's got the MMA experience. They can say, okay, we're going to bring in a guy who knows MMA. Have Mauro help with that match, and then have have Mauro do that, and have him do AJ and Nakamura.
No, you know who you get to call the Ronda match. You get Mike Goldberg from Bellator.
Fuck, bro, he sucks.
No, he's perfect because he called all the Ronda matches, right? Well, except for the Strikeforce ones, but he called all the UFC ones.
Get Big John to do it, bro. He's pretty good at that now.
You could get Big John.
Big John's scarier than any MMA fighter, bro, and I've always said that. Even since '93, he's bigger and more intimidating. Are you ready? He's scarier than any fight. I'm sorry, but if I look at Demetrius Johnson and him, bro, I'm sorry.
you had to diss DJ, man.
You know what?
DJ plays video games, man. He's
a Dragon Ball fan. He is. Yes, I found that out recently. I never followed him because I don't ever trust any man who weighs under 120 pounds. But he follows Dragon Ball, so I followed him, bro. He didn't follow me back, but I'm sure he's a huge fan.
Okay, so I think that was a good enough little tease to what we're gonna do over these next. I guess it's like 6 weeks until the big show. So we'll come back in 2 weeks again. I apologize for not being able to do the show next week. I'm actually going to be out of town visiting my kid in Arizona. But we'll be back in 2 weeks, and we'll keep doing this up until the big show. So remember to check out Big D, World of Geekdom. I will tweet. I will put all his handles, Twitter handle, and all that stuff in the notes on the show. And for Big D, I am Double G. We will see you when we see you. Peace out.